This is your brain. And this
is your brain on Tom.
Hey, what's up? It's me, Tom. How's it going? It's been a while. I was on a impromptu vacation, so in the last week, so now I'm back. I was back earlier in the week, but then it was unbearably hot, but then it rained, and now it's better in here, so I can record now. It's just so the weather. I don't understand. Why does science have to be like this? We just want to love. Yeah, so I've been away, but I did a bunch of cool stuff. Not cool stuff. I did me stuff, which some people might think is cool stuff, but I enjoyed. And just kind of hanging out, seeing a lot of documentaries in theaters right now, which I think is kind of cool. And obviously it happens all the time, but I live in kind of an area where it's not common for them to like really, if they're there, they're only there for like a very short amount of time, where it's like, oh, two showings and whatever, which is all right. You know, it's usually if I'm aware that it exists, I'll go and I'll see it. But generally speaking, I miss a lot of them. Or they're just like, here's this weird concept. Like, I don't care. But the two I did see was the Mr. Rogers one, and then I saw Three Identical Strangers, which I didn't even realize was a documentary until like a couple hours before going. I kept seeing like on the MoviePass app and Fandango like not ads for it, but like it kept showing, especially in the MoviePass, it would just show up in like the new releases area, like on the top, but it wasn't anywhere near my area for like a week. So I just kept sitting up there, and I thought it was just like a drama, like a comedy or something. I didn't really think it was like, or not like a narrative thing rather. And then just like the day it's the day of seeing it. Yeah. I like happened to open it, and they had the top banner was a trailer for it, and it was moving. I was like, oh shit, this is a documentary. Okay. And so we went, Ben and I. It was really cool. I liked that movie a lot. It was really neat. I've never heard of that story. I recommend it to anyone to go see it if it's around. If it's around, it's a place you can get to it. I don't know, because it was kind of funky. Like my phone, different apps were like, it's here, and I was like, it's not, and it was weird. But so if it is around, you should go see it. It's basically about like, it doesn't even seem real. Like, it kind of seems fake. It's about three triplets who are separated at birth, and then by happenstance found each other again. And it's very weird. It's just like some of the things that like it goes through are so odd, and like how it all played out, and then where there's how like the comments from the adoption agency or orphanage. I don't know what they technically were, but like their comments that they have, like, oh, why this happened and how that happened, and then like the way it all was structured and who got what, where everyone ended up, and then how they all kind of came together, and we're like, very, it was fucking funky, freaky. It was kind of very cool. To kind of see how the whole thing like played out. It was a very good movie. I guess not cool is not a good word for it, because like of like what ends up going down, but like it was a very interesting thing to see. I've never heard of this. I don't know why it doesn't come up more. I guess it was like a bigger deal in like the 80s when they found each other. Like, they seemed to be all over the place. They were all like, they'd show like clips of them on different talk shows and doing all this stuff. So I'm assuming it was a bigger deal back then, but I'm not entirely sure. But very cool. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's reasonably really new, and I think more people should go see it because it's kind of a neat thing. And like kind of going in, like I went in possibly more blind than anyone possibly could, thinking it was like a narrative movie and not a documentary. That's like a weird experience I've never had. Where had I not like reopened my app for MoviePass, I would have just like sat down and been like, "The hell is going on? What is this?" Because it was like hours before I actually like going. I went to go like at a 9:00 showing, and it was like full. And I was like, "All right, screw this. I'll just go and go home. We'll come back to like 10 or whatever." So I came back to the 10 one, and it was like in between that, like me going to like buy that 9:00 ticket. I was like, oh, I see. Okay, and that's what this is. Yeah, that one's really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. But the other one I did see too, and I'll talk about this one a lot more in depth because it's a lot more well known. Is the Mr. Rogers one, which was really fucking cool. It was really sweet. Just seeing like this guy, like, no man, I just want to make sure everything's good. I hope to God nothing ever comes out negative about that guy, because then that whole documentary is like, oh Jesus, because it's really sweet. It's just like this guy who's just like he went off to go, I think it was a pastor or something, and then he wanted to just, I think it was like a summer job. I forget how they worded it, but it was like something he was like, oh, I'll just try this thing in the meantime. I'll go help out this TV show and this, where is he? Pittsburgh, I think he's from. And just like, oh, I'll give it a shot. And then just it kind of like being like, oh shit, this is like a thing I can do, and I'm really good at it, and like, oh my god, and like he just kind of like grew into it more and more, and then became very, very passionate, very driven by it. What was it? There was like a thing in the beginning that like very like episode 1 or 2 or something, like really early on, where it was like I think it was the JFK assassination or the Bobby Kennedy assassination. It was one of the assassinations of the Kennedys. I forget which one. And like he addresses it on the show. Like he didn't pull any punches. I didn't know that. Because I knew he had like a 9/11 one, but like that, because that was like a big deal because he like had come back. Like the show had not been in production, then he came back to do it. And I think then, if I remember correctly from the show or the documentary, it re-sparked the show for a little bit longer. Yeah, he like, I didn't know that like that was like an early thing he did. He was like, no, this is bad. We're gonna talk about it. And like, he did one with like I guess in the 60s. Like a bunch of black people got like kicked out of like a hotel pool, and then he did like a what do you call it? Like a segment on the show with the mailman character, and or was he mailman or package carrier? I don't know. I guess that doesn't matter. That's the same thing. And all the package carriers and mail people are screaming into their headphones. Like because he's a black guy, and he was like, oh, we'll just sit in this little kiddie pool, and we'll. It's like kind of fascinating how he managed to take like this simple, like what everyone would assume is just an innocent children's program that, nothing could ever go wrong. But like the way he like constructed it all, and like the Kingdom of Imagination being like very focused on like the, what was his name? King Friday? Is that what it is? I think so. It's been so long since I've watched that show. 25. It's been a while. How like that character because there was a thing he was doing where he was like talking about putting up a wall, like back in the 60s, like, oh, we gotta put up a wall, gotta keep out people that are bad or something. They're like, no, we gotta love everyone. And like someone sent a balloon with all these little messages, he goes, tear the wall down. Just like really adorable stuff, but like really pressing, semi-really relevant issues that are like he's talking about in this very silly, what like if you like disassociate yourself from like real life and it was just like, here's this fantasy world, it would be like the most silly, ridiculous thing ever. And then like you parallel it with it was like, oh no, he did this because this event was happening or this thing started happening. I guess there's a part where, like, after the Superman movie came out, a bunch of kids hurt themselves trying to fly, so they had to address that. Like, it's fascinating, because, like, also when we went, Ben and I, it was, like, everyone. There was so many different people. It was so crazy, because he's been around forever. Like, Ben and I are probably on, like, the very, very tail end of, like, even just, like, syndication runs. Like, I'm 25, Ben's, like, 20. So, like we're like very much at the end of it, but like the couple people that were sitting around us were like super old, probably watched it when like it was like airing brand new stuff. Like we saw a lot of reruns of stuff, obviously, but there were some other younger people there. And actually the woman in front of us, when it ended, she got up and she was like, oh, it's quite the eclectic group here. Everyone here is just, he just reached to everyone, and everyone wanted to see the whole thing. Because like he kind of lived in like, oh, maybe not lived in a place of mystery, but everyone kind of created like a world of mystery around him, being like, oh, he's from Vietnam and he did all this stuff and he was a total badass and he became this harmless guy or whatever. But I was like, none of that was true. And they actually, I think they addressed that at one point where they're like, no, this is true. Yeah, it was like so fascinating to see this guy like kind of grow into this thing, and everyone was like, this is just who he was. He fucking did some of these voices at the dinner table and stuff like that, and it was so fascinating that this guy has been around and it's so important to so many people for so long. And just one dude, just really soft-spoken guy, just like, hey, I just want to make sure kids watch good stuff, because he did not like whatever the stuff I liked as a child. He was not a fan. He thought a lot of stuff was like way too violent stuff. And I only recently learned, due to like just researching like Power Ranger stuff and stuff, but that like they got into a lot of trouble in the 90s for being like, they're like violent without like recoil. Like there was never a chance of like talking to the monster. It was just like, monster's here, destroy monster, like fight and kill it. And I guess that like people are like, oh my god, how could you? But it's like, it's a giant man in a rubber suit. Calm down. Just dial it back. But apparently that was like a big deal, and I only recently found out, like, was it the 90s? It was like 93 or something. Like, I want to say like around, like right around when I was born, like somewhere in April of 93, there was like the FCC being like, wait a fucking minute, there is a lot of death and murder on TV, and like I think Power Rangers came out like September of '93. So they were like, hang on, hold the phone. There's a lot of, like, they had some crazy statistic. I only learned this because I watched the Funkland's a YouTube channel that does like defunct theme parks, theme rides, and theme parks actually in one case, but it's usually a theme park ride, and fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. The world of theme park enthusiasts is so fascinating. I just can't get enough of it. Every once in a while, I'll just be scrolling through YouTube and it's like 5 crazy facts about this ride. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm all about that. Let me put that on right now. I want to know everything about this. And I'll just put that on and learn like weird things. And like, and it's now getting to the point where I'm like hearing the same stuff repeated. So like, I'm like, all right, I think I'm getting like, I think I'm in the community now at this point. Like, I think that means you've entered in. But he does a sub thing now called Defunct TV, and he talks about canceled TV shows. Holy fuck, so fascinating. So fascinating. I love it so much. Oh my god, he did Bear in the Big Blue House, which I'm like kind of familiar with. Like I watched it occasionally. Ben was more that age range when that came out. I mean, he just randomly offhanded was like, Disney Channel was a premium channel. I had no idea. Didn't know that was. That was kind of crazy. I guess it makes sense though, because like as a kid, I pretty much only watched Nickelodeon. Like from, I'm gonna say like let's say like 5 or 6 on to like maybe 10, not 10, that's but it's bold. Let's say like 5 to 8. It was like a solid like 3 years. I never watched anything else. But would occasionally like find Cartoon Network and be like, where was that show? I want to watch it again. Like SWAT Cats. I think that's the name of that show. Am I right? I think that's what that's called. I remember finding it once and I was like, holy cow, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's so cool. And then I couldn't remember what the channel was because I was like, it's so stupid because in where I'm from, the cable listings, it's 32 was Cartoon Network, 33 was Nickelodeon, and 34 was Disney Channel. So like it was impossible to get lost. But for some reason, maybe that was only until like maybe that changed at one point. But throughout my life, it's been 32, 33, 34. You could just flip between the 3 of them, and that's why Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon was so easy to remember. Because as a child, I just needed to know where the 3 was, and I could hit that 3 times or 2 times, and it would pop up. So like that was like, I don't know if they planned that, but it was super fucking helpful as a kid to like not have to remember other numbers. You just had to know where one button was, and you just had to hit that enough times till it showed up. Because actually, it's probably even earlier than 5. I bet I was watching Nickelodeon even before that. Now I think about it. And then, yeah, it was just like, I think none of the remotes we had in the house ever had like 3s, like on the, like actual like print. It was always like worn off and stuff because that was just all we ever watched. The 3 of us, the 3 kids. And then eventually finding, no, I must have found Cartoon Network by like 2nd grade. So like 8, maybe 7. So somewhere in there, like I'm going to say like maybe 4 to 7 or something like that. Even that's probably wrong. I don't know. My timing's all off. And like, it's so weird too, because I had like this babysitter growing up who, I don't know if it was on TV or just showed us stuff, but she'd always like put on like dope stuff. Like that's where I learned like Animaniacs. That's where I learned about Tiny Toons. That's where I watched Star Wars for the first time. Like she would just like put on stuff. I don't know if it was just on the TV and she was just like, oh, let me just leave this on, or like she specifically like put it on because she thought it was good. Like I don't know if this woman had excellent taste in media or like it just happened to work out that way. It was so weird. But like every once in a while I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, Diane's the reason I know about that, why that exists. Oh yeah, that's the reason. That's right. I remember seeing it the first time at Diane's, like learning about all like the Star Wars toys. Her son was like a Star Wars toy collector, so like when he was home, he would like bring out like the good stuff, and then he had like a box of like his duplicates that we could play with. But yeah, he'd like bring out this like he had like a giant AT-AT, which is like it was like as tall as I was, and I was like, holy crap, what is this? Is amazing. I was like so blown away as a child. I'm like, why is this toy so large? And they're like, you can't even go near it. And I was like, but I want to. And they understood. I broke everything. We broke so many toys as a kid. Oh, good lord. I don't think I have a single Power Ranger with all its limbs left. It's crazy. Or where was I going with this? I was saying something about, Defunctland. He's amazing. I love it. It's a Defunctland TV thing. And then he talked about Legends of the Hidden Temple, which was super good. I loved that show as a kid. And I only recently found out, too, because of that, I don't think I ever watched an original airing of that. I think I only watched reruns. Because like I think it stopped. I think it was only 3 seasons, and they just kind of repeated it until like 99 or something like that. Then they moved it, or 2002 or something, and they moved it to Gas, I forget. He talks about in that episode. You can watch it if you'd like. But it's very good. I hope he does more of these, because they're like fascinating. Because like I lost media and like canceled TV shows are always really cool, and like hearing about like why stuff happens. And like in both of these examples, the Bear in the Big Blue House and Legend of the Hidden Temple, they were both super popular, but like the channels didn't really have like they didn't really have like a thing in place to be like, oh, we just keep going. It was like you do your 100 episodes, get to syndication, get the fuck out. Like, we don't need you right now. We're gonna move on to the next thing, but we have enough here. Or the 52 rule, where you buy 52 episodes, or you make 52, and then you can just repeat them over a year. That was like kind of like the I guess that was just all TV back then. That must have been why it was, because like certain things now, it's like, oh, they're super popular. Like I just found out the fucking Voltron show on Netflix. It's like 6 seasons. I was really considering watching it. I probably still will. It's apparently something you just like leave on in the background while you do other things, and I could always use one of those, I guess. I don't know. I listen to a lot of podcasts like that though, so we'll figure it out. We'll see if I ever listen to that or watch that show, because I was trying to figure out like because I'm just gonna keep going. This is all in children's program. We'll consider that as a topic right now. But I had like fallen down the rabbit hole of Tokusatsus, which is what Power Rangers is in Japan, or Ultraman, or Kamen Rider, and all that stuff. That live action special effects fighting show thing. And I found the original Ultraman and was like going down that path, and like, it's so bad. Like it's fun to watch, but like, as someone from 2018 watching something from 1966, it's fascinating how low budget this was. Like little plastic toys on strings and like landing on little models like for the spaceships, and the monster for like most of it, I'm pretty sure is a hand puppet in like a sink, where it's like there's water around the guy's arm and he's just like a hand puppet. And then when they actually get to the part where the guy is fighting in the suit, like the Ultraman shows up, they have like a really weird looking suit, and Ultraman's just like in a leotard. He's like punching stuff, and like he's got like a paper mache head, and it's like I don't know how he was breathing or saw where he had to go. Fascinating. It's fascinating to see like something, because that's like the birth of that genre. I mean, I guess Godzilla's technically the first of, but like that pairing of like kaiju with a superhero is like Ultraman's the first real attempt of that happening. And there's a manga currently going right now that I don't know how good it is, but the artwork's unbelievable. It's so good, and it's a sequel to the 60s show, which is really weird. So I was like, oh, I'll check up the 60s show. I found the whole thing on YouTube. It's in the English version of it, but I thought it was weird too that, and I guess because I come from like 4Kids era, where like they were like, oh, no Japanese things at all, sir. We change all of that. It's like untouched. It's just like, here's a 1-to-1 redubbing of this show. It's what it seems like. I can't seem to find a ton of information on that. I went through and I researched it. I'm like, is this dub wrong? Is this like a bad version of watching this? But there's no one really has any comment on that, so I'm just rolling with it. I've only seen the first episode. I'll probably put it on occasionally, because it's just silly 60s television. And I there's something charming about it in a Japanese actor. I don't know why, but I really enjoy watching like maybe because it's just like it's similar to what we have here, but it's just different enough where it's like, oh, it's a new thing. I don't know why, but then I thought about it. I am like going 99 miles an hour right now. But like I was thinking about it while watching Ultraman, where it's like, oh, I love this. Like just watching people attempt to do this is fascinating, and the production part of like Power Rangers, and I love reading up on like, here's a production note that happened, or this happened here, or the reason this character stopped showing up because their suit broke, and and like figuring out like how they work around this very abnormal. I guess it's abnormal for Americans, so it's a very weird thing for us to be seeing this. But I guess it's so popular in Japan, like it's like a big deal. And there's 1,000 different versions. Like I've started following all these Tokusatsu like social media accounts. There's not a ton of them. There's not very few, but like. There's like a ton of different, like a Kamen Rider every year. There's a Sentai every year, I think it's Sentai every 2 years, twice a year. I think it might be twice a year. It's at least once a year though. But there's always a Kamen Rider going. There's always an Ultraman going. There's always a Sentai going. There's always there's just always a different and there's another one. Oh, Metal Heroes is the other one. And then what was the other one? There's another one, because VR Troopers, which was we had VR Troopers, Beetleborgs, we had Masked Rider. That's what we had over here, and then Power Rangers, and I want to say Beetleborgs and Beetleborgs is Metal Heroes. I cannot remember what VR Troopers was, but that was 3 seasons like combined. So that one's weird. I guess they were really into the idea of a team. I guess that's kind of what it was, because like I don't know. Then again, the Masked Rider, and I loved Masked Rider as a kid. I had a bunch of Masked Rider toys. I loved him. I can't, but like I guess I'll go back to that. But like, I don't remember how that played out though. That's weird. I loved it so much, but I have no memory of how it played out. I wonder if that's on Netflix. I would love to watch that, because they only did 1 season. Maybe did 2 or 3. VR only did 1. I know that for sure, and I also enjoyed that a lot. But I have been thinking about this, or it's like, I put on this 60s Ultraman show, and I'm having a blast. I'm all giddy. I'm like, this is so fun. Like everyone being ridiculous, wearing rubber suits and punching each other in papier-mâché masks. This is so delightful on this tiny little set. I love this genre so much, and I don't know what it is, and like I always have. It's weird though, because I like was born at the right time, like 93, boom, Power Rangers came out. Oh my god, this is a huge success. Let's try to buy a bunch of these other ones. So we have Mass Rider, we got VR Troopers, we got Beetleborgs. I love Beetleborgs as a kid. I loved all of them. And that's the thing I've been wondering. It's like, I wonder if my, like, have I, like, and I was talking to my dad last night, and he was talking about, oh, I really love stop motion. It looks so cool. I love that so much. It's such a cool genre of thing to do. And I was thinking, like, Ben's really into puppetry and Muppets and that kind of thing. It's just like a genre of media that, like, you're fixated on. You're like, this is just so cool. Like, this just speaks to me. And I wonder if you're, like, born with that, or if that's something you're taught. Like, was it just because I, like, landed right at this time that I was watching Power Rangers as a kid, and then each subsequent different series they tried afterwards, and now kind of going back and discovering, like, oh, okay, this is a whole genre in Japan. It's huge in Japan. There's even more, and there's all this other stuff, and I still like it. Like, I still, like, enjoy watching it. I don't know. Is that something I was like, and I just like kind of was like geared to that naturally, or am I like kind of like I just kind of was put in a spot where I learned that, and it's like, oh, this is a thing you like, and it's just like, because like I guess part of it is like, is it triggering like a triggering like a nostalgia feeling where I'm like, oh, this is amazing. This feels so good. I love watching this, because it's like, especially the '60s one, not pretty. I mean, you look at something like Kamen Rider Wizard right now, and good lord, my eyeballs, it's so pretty. Oh my god, the choreography is so good. I'm getting all excited. Kamen Rider Wizard is so good. I didn't even watch the episode. I follow a Twitter account that just puts GIFs of Tokusatsu shows, and holy cow, is fucking Wizard so good. It's so good. I love it so much. I have no idea what it's about. There's apparently a Kamen Rider show, I marked myself to do this, that Amazon bought, and it's a remake of the second Kamen Rider show, which apparently got canceled due to being too violent and graphic. So they remade it and apparently just amped that shit up. Where it's like, we are serious. This is the adult one. That's why it's not on TV. It was like it was a web sheet series in Japan. Maybe it got TV air in Japan, but I don't know. I'm not from there. I'm doing as much research as I can, trying to figure out what the hell these things are. And then, so then Amazon picked it up and I guess just dubbed it and put it out again. So I'm fascinated. I'm going to watch that because that sounds awesome. Because I've never actually watched a Kamen Rider series. I've only watched one Sentai series. I say that in hand quotes because it was the parody version of it. I've never actually seen an actual start to finish Sentai. I've only seen, how is it pronounced? Akihabara Ranger? It's Akihabara and Ranger combined. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that, but it's like a parody of it, and it's hilarious. It's so funny, and I wasn't even like that into Rangers at the time. I was just like, oh, this sounds like fun. Because I think I was on like some play. I was somewhere, and like it popped up, and I was like, what is this? It's because like I think that's what it was. I was trying to figure out how to like get into it, and I have the affliction. I got to do everything from square one. So I was like, all right, do I want to go and look up the absolute last, or the absolute first Sentai series and just move up and then watch Power Rangers and then like kind of like do them parallel? Like, do I want to do that? It sounds like a lot of work. Like this series has been around for years and there's a lot of these. Like I think what we got as Mighty Morphin, that Sentai series is like 19. I think it's 17 or 19, something like that. It's like it's around that number, which is crazy. There's a lot before that. And I can't even necessarily be like, oh, it'll be great, because there's no way it's possible. It's possible, but like I have no idea. And at this point, I wasn't like in the realization of like, oh, I love this. I was just like, let me try seeing what this is like and see what that side of it was. And I happened to just find this like, oh, here's a parody season that is, it's its own thing. It's separate. There's one season of it. And I was like, oh, I'll try that. And it's absolutely hysterical. And I wasn't even like a real big fan of it. I wasn't like paying attention to it. I just like put it on. There's like, it's really funny, like kind of mocking like a little bit of the otaku culture. I mean, is that the actual term in Japanese? Because that's apparently like an affliction in Japan where it's like, oh, they don't leave the house and they only care about this. But anime fan community of like the, in Japan, like it was kind of mocking a little bit of that. Like there's a part where like the main character is very like romantic in his head, so he'll like build up this whole situation where he walks in, he's all smooth and cool, and in reality, it's not anything near that case. And like I think their morphers are what were they? They're like figures. They're like anime girl figures, and they like spin them around and turn into a gun, and then blast, and the armor come on. It's pretty fun. They have like big anime hair on their helmets. and I think it's in season 2 because I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen the first one. But the Red and Green Ranger come back from Mighty Morphin, but they're the American ones, and they have like American flags on the collar that they have, and on the belt, and maybe in their gloves too. I forget. And they like come in, and they're like the American versions. And I wonder if they speak English because there was a character in the first season who was from America, and I don't remember if it played out exactly. Like sometimes he would just talk in English, and the subtitles will still be there, and I would just like not like my brain was just like not like registering. I was just like, oh, I'm just reading right now. That's all we're doing. And then, but like it sounded weird when someone started speaking English, and I was like, but still reading it and like expecting Japanese to come out, and I was like, it's like actually like, took me back for a second. So I wonder if they did that again, and the two guys who show up speak English. That'd be very interesting to find out. I should probably look into that. But it's really funny. There's like a couple of gifs you'll see of it of like them meeting each other, and they're like they're posing like, what is this? Like that's so funny. So it was such a good show. Like the last episode is them like fighting the credits because they don't want to end the show because they don't know if they're going to second season. It's really funny. They did get a second season. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about like this that like speaks to me so much because it is very silly. It's just like a bunch of like I constantly explain it. It's just men in spandex fighting men in rubber suits, but it's wonderful. And it's like very entertaining to watch. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. And like it sucks too because it's like so not a big deal over here. And like shit, like I can't like go and be like I'm just gonna go and work in this fucking genre. Like if I want to be like a stop motion animator, still a very small market in this country, but like. I could like, there's a place for it. Like I could be like, oh, I could put this together and maybe send it to a film. I guess I could still do that with Tokusatsu. I could just like make it and then send it to like a film thing or whatever. But it'd be really fun to do like actually like make up a suit, build a power set up. Do you want to do a team? Do you want to do like a more of a rider thing where it's one person? Add the scarf. It's wonderful. I mean, Ultraman's ridiculous. Just like a big alien dude who's like, oh, I give you my power as small human, and then like the guy can just like he bursts. He has like he's like a little. Like pen, and he like clicks the pen, and then Ultraman pops out. And it's like, what is going on? Why is it like this? It's really funny though. So that's why I'm curious to watch this one because that's why I want to get to the manga. And I want to see how this genre plays out in like still imagery. I think it's still kind of like got like a cool factor and it's still kind of an awesome thing, even though it's not like moving and it's not because like part of the charm is here are real people trying to create basically a cartoon. And I find that endlessly fascinating. So like I wonder if it would still work the same when it is more like animated. I mean it's not animated, it's drawn, so it's kind of closer to the cartoon that it's trying to be. So like they could do way more and they can get a little crazier, I guess. But I guess some of the charm of it too is the trickery of the camera, trying to make you think that like, oh, this is real, this is happening, these aren't just people in rubber suits. Because sometimes they pull it off. Sometimes you're just like, oh right, this is a fucking dumb little silly thing. This is fun. Yeah, it's real good. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so all the way back to the first thing. Mr. Rogers hated that shit. But he was so passionate about like his little project and it spoke to a bunch of people. So that's kind of cool too. I mean, he did a kind of thing with like puppetry and all that stuff. So he was kind of doing some kind of like a little bit of a genre thing that he enjoyed. So I guess I wonder if that's possible. Do like part of it is one thing. I guess that's kind of what Tokusatsus are. It's like there's a like that's where Power Rangers shine so much. It was like here's everyday school life, what do you call it? Saved by the Bell, and then here we are over here, and now we're superheroes fighting this thing. So I guess it's kind of a mixture of genres. That's kind of that's what that is. It's superheroes and kaiju mixed together. So I guess it is just kind of like a big mishmash combination of things to make it work. So maybe that is kind of like a fun, that's kind of the charm of the whole thing. Kind of lead you into it. It's like, here's some people talking about things you understand. Then I hear stuff you don't understand. People in plastic helmets punching guys in rubber suits. But that's pretty great. Oh, man. It'd be so fun to make one. Just make one. I don't know what it would be or like how it would necessarily work out, but it'd be really fun to like try to put one together because they're so fun. They're so ridiculous. But I love it. It's such a fun thing to watch. I don't know. It's weird too that it's like so big still in Japan, but it's like never really. Only Power Rangers really kind of got traction over here. It's kind of odd. I mean, I guess it kind of does play into it that like VR Trooper, for example, was like they'd use 3 seasons for 3 different suits. I think Beetleborgs did the same thing. It was 3 different seasons, so they could have their team of 3. But like that just becomes hard in terms of production standpoint. Like I would imagine being a writer on that, like I'm out. This is ridiculous. What are you trying to make me do? Like we can't even like have it where they are on the screen at the same time when they're fighting. This is ridiculous. I can imagine that being like mildly annoying as like a writer, because that's apparently like a big problem with Power Rangers when they first came out. They were just given like raw footage and the go sign, just like a green light. That was it. That's all they got. And it was just like, what are we supposed to do? So like a couple of those early episodes are just bananas, because it's like they had to come up with like, all right, what is going on? Why are they acting like this? What is going on? Because I don't think they had any of the people part. Because like in Mighty Morphin, they were like mystical wizards or something. I forget exactly what they were. So like I could imagine that's like really hard to be like, what is going on? What is happening? But yeah, God, it's so fun. And yeah, Mr. Rogers' documentary is really good. Like I teared up a little bit a few times. It's just like, oh, this is so fucking wholesome. So wholesome. I love this. What a great guy. Yeah, so good. Power Rangers, great. Watching In Space right now still, so good. So good. It's like shockingly good. And maybe it's because it's like paired with like, or like in juxtaposition to Turbo, which was like whack, and it's like, why is this? And it's like, because I guess the Japanese version of it's like very silly. It's like I want to say they're like mechanics that get superpowers, and they fight like evildoers that break traffic laws or something, and that's it. Like that's the premise of the entire Sentai. Like that's weird. That's like a weird thing to work with. So like, and if they were doing it not that way, but like the other way, so it's like, I don't know. A couple episodes in Turbo, and like Justin's not the great. I've spoken my feelings about Justin as a character. Like I can imagine that being like a challenge thing or whatever. It's like, what is this? Why is it like this? So, but In Space, so good, and like it ties everything together so well. Like, as I think, and I don't remember if I want to say it was like intended to be like the end of the whole thing, but then it did so well, like kept going, and it's been going ever since. I think. I don't know. The only time I've ever heard that, I think I've heard that, was Linkara did like a big retrospective where he talked about all of them. And I think that's where I'm getting the information from, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't watched that in forever. I might go back and watch that after I finish like In Space, because like that's the end of the real solid end of this whole arc. Like this whole thing gets kind of wrapped up with that. Apparently, Countdown to Destruction, which is the 2-part ending, is amazing. Because I'm part of all these different Facebook groups and Instagram little pages or whatever dedicated to like Rangers and stuff like that. So, and it comes up often. Like In Space is amazing. RPM is apparently the absolute best. In Space is like a close second. I attempted to watch RPM like a long time ago, and I stopped. And I was like, oh well, I want to get through all of these before I do this. And I just never did. And that's weird too, because I did watch on Netflix. I don't remember if everything was on Netflix at that time. That may have been what stopped me, or maybe I just got busy. I don't remember what, but it's so good. It's so fantastic. Watching them just like tie this together, and like they figured it out. And there's a lot of like new footage that they use, and that helps. That's really like, that seems to be like the real savor of, because that's what RPM did too, is they use a lot of original footage. Like that saves a ton of this, which is like, just do the thing yourself and like start it over for yourself instead of trying to like piece it together Frankenstein style. And that seems to be like the way it benefits way more. But it's so good. It's so fun to watch. And like Andros is a great, I mean, I've heard a lot of people like complain about Andros. I'm like, oh, he sucks. But I think he's fine. I actually like him a lot as a Red Ranger. He's very like calm and like calculated, but like that is also kind of, he's been alone in space for so long, fighting this bad guy forever. So like it kind of makes sense that he would be a little more reserved and like focused on the mission as opposed to like kind of bombastic, which I also really enjoy. And like TJ was hitting that stride at the end of Turbo. But TJ's still there, Cola's still there, Ashley and Gassy, they're all there. So it's nice to have some familiar faces and then come back. They fixed Alpha's voice, thank God. They were like, okay, there's a thing where it breaks at the end of Turbo, and they're like, oh, we couldn't find the old ones. Like, that's fine, this works great. And then having the spaceship kind of play the Zordon role, but really it's just Andros. He seems to know a lot about what's going on, and like the spaceship is more of just like the viewing globe, like, oh, hey, here's this information that's going down, go take care of this, and they go and do it, and it's really fun. It's really, really good. I'm surprised at how long it's kept up. I think I'm over a little over halfway through the whole thing. It's like 43 episodes or something. I forget. I want to say like the Zordon era, I think, or like this block of seasons, this first 5 is like just under 300 episodes. So it's somewhere in there. It's crazy to me that I've watched this much of it, too. That's also crazy, because, like, I love One Piece. Absolutely adore it. But I only watch, like, occasional things where I'm like, oh, I want to see this fight go down or whatever, because I've read the manga, and I don't really want to watch the entire thing start to finish, because apparently there's, like, sections that are not as, whatever, but I hear someone go, like, oh, this arc was amazing in the anime, and I'll go watch that or whatever. I'll just throw it on in the background while I'm doing something else. So that's not an anime I'm going to sit down and focus on, because I know, it's super long. But, like, I'll do that with, like, My Hero Academia or Steins, which I'll get into in a minute. But, like, it's weird that I would sit down and continue watching this. I think it's just because I enjoy watching these silly action scenes so much. They're so fun to watch. It's very interesting. I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot, too. Like, what would you have to do to make it, like, speak to an American audience? Because, like, they did that Power Rangers movie a couple years ago, and it was okay. It was not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It could have been way worse. Like, the suits looked gross, and the Megazord looked bad, and Goldar looked bad, too. So, like, visually it didn't work. But, like, structurally it worked fine. It's totally fine. Covers all bases. It did a fine job. So I'd be curious to see, like if that's possible, like, but, like, do the suits and the action sequences that I enjoy look ridiculous to most people? I don't know. Because, like, I know with Turbo, that movie did horribly because they stuck it far more to, like, an episode of the show where it's people in cardboard box robot suits punching people. It's more to the show is, like, style, kept the budget at wherever, did that kind of stuff, but it did horrible as a show. And so I wonder if you could find that balance of, like, the campiness of the show with the fun action sequences. I mean, I guess you can, because, like, a lot of the Kamen Rider stuff I've been seeing is that it's a guy in a very complicated suit or whatever fighting these things, but, like, the way they do the lighting and the action sequences and, like, the choreography of the fights are really good. But so I guess the other thing that harms or pulls Power Rangers back is they have the Zords. So, like, a lot of the fights do end up having to be, like, a big kaiju battle with, like, a big robot, and so doing the robot properly is a bit of a challenge, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if it's... I've been thinking about it so much lately. It's like, I wonder if you could do, like, a movie, like, even if it's, like, an original concept. Like, maybe we don't latch onto a property, and we just do an original concept Tokusatsu film, and, like, how can we make that work and, like, take off in this country? I don't know. I don't know how it would work. I'd be curious to see if it had play. I don't know. It'd be interesting. But I guess we'll just move on from that, because I've been talking a lot about it, and I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. But yeah, I guess I mentioned Steins Gate for a minute there, so I'll finally talk about that. So I just sat down and watched the whole thing. And it's just as good as everyone was saying it was. It's like, there's a part in the middle where it feels like it's spinning its wheels a bit, but I guess it's important for the whole thing to give the sense of, like, nothing is working because of the way the time travel is working in the series, where it's like, because, like, yeah, if you can, like, time travel back, and then you can do a thing, and then that makes it so that it affects the future, but only the main character can remember. And I thought that was kind of cute, because when it first hit me, I was like, oh, because it's based on a visual novel, to be like, oh, this is the player's mechanic, because you would remember between time things, so the main character would have to remember in this show for this to work. And, like, it was really cool to, like, have it where he'd be like, wait a minute, it didn't work, we didn't do it right. Because there was just, like, all these timelines, and the way the timelines work, and how they, like, branch off and, like, create different things. Like, it was really fascinating how they, like, played it off and, like, made it work. And I'm actually considering watching Steins Gate Zero now, just to see where it went and how it worked. Because it seemed like, the way, the way it wraps up, it seems very definitive. So I'm curious, because it's labeled as a sequel on Wikipedia, I believe. But I've been told it's, like, an alternate timeline. So I don't know how that works. But I'd be curious to see how it played out. Because there was this like other timeline ending that they talked about a lot for the one girl who, like, was there. She would be like, oh yeah, there's this big mega corporation, and you guys are these, like, crazy hacker activist people, and you're trying to save the world. So you're sending people around through time to go do different actions. So I'm curious if it's like that, or it's, like, leading into that timeline, because that's, like, it was, like, a very well defined like, setting to never really be seen. Like, it was never seen in that version, the regular Steins Gate. So I'd be curious to see if they play with that at all. I don't even know. Is it coming out currently, or did it finish? I don't even know. I got a bunch of anime I gotta watch. I want to watch Megalobox really bad, because that's apparently amazing. I have to catch up in My Hero Academia. But I read the manga of that too, so it kind of gets funky where it's like, oh, well, I'm caught up in this. Like, I know what's happening. I just want to watch it. Because it's... My Hero Academia's anime is the best version of it, because it's like one-to-one recreated, but has amazing music and really cool action. And that's it. It's like weird. It's just like, oh, okay, that's it. Like, it's just better. It's just the better version of this. At least that's for season 1. I've only watched all of season 1. I've seen like clips of season 2, and are we into season 3? Is that where we are right now? Yeah, we're in season 3. Which has some of the dopest stuff in the whole series so far. So I'm hoping that holds up. Apparently it does. What was I saying? Oh yeah, and I want to watch Megalobox. I want to watch that. I want to attempt Steins Gate Zero. I have my Crunchyroll queue is just always gets bigger. Akaji. I think it's Akaji, the gambling one. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. I want to watch that one too. That one's apparently really, really good. Because I was about to watch like a video that was talking about it, but like they're about to spoil it like in the first 2 minutes. I'm like, why do you make these videos then? Super Eye Fetchable, that's who it was. He does it all the time. Where like start talking about something, like, well, I'm gonna spoil this. I'm like, I'm 5 seconds into this video. Why are you doing this? Sometimes he'll just start spoiling stuff without like setting up the thing. Like, oh, well, I'll be spoiling this. And you're like, why, bro? He did that with One Piece. I think at one point he talked about it. And he just like started going into like a storyline. And you're like, bro, what are you doing? Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I want to watch. A bunch of stuff. I love it. So fun. So fun. I really just love Japanese media. I don't know why. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's because like I grew up with like Power Rangers and all the other Tokusatsu stuff, and then because like I'm pretty sure I used to watch all of that, and then and then Dragon Ball Z came out, and then all the other Tsunami stuff, and then we get to it's got to be, I don't even know, whenever the 3rd volume of Hunter x Hunter came out, that's when we picked it up. Or no, it was the 5th one. The 5th one came out, we picked up the first 3. And it's been off to the races ever since. Like, that's when it went hard. I was like, oh, this is a whole thing. This is a totally different thing. It's its own thing. It's been going on forever. And I, like, really got into it. And I don't know when exactly that was. I'm going to say, like, maybe 2007, maybe? It sounds right, maybe? I don't remember. But yeah, like, that was, like, when it really, like, took off. Like, oh, it's a whole different thing. And, like, I just kind of, like, but I've always, like, really enjoyed, like, JRPGs and Pokemon and just Japanese video games. I really enjoy, Smash Brothers, Street Fighter, whatever, Monster Hunter. Really enjoy a lot of Japanese. I'm enjoying live action Japanese media and animated Japanese media. I'm partially, I enjoy Japanese music, but like it's harder to find, and like it's like I don't even know. It's so weird finding music and like being like, oh, cool. Like I can't even imagine. I don't even know how. Like I can kind of remember how I did it, where it was like, I was like, oh, Metallica is super dope. Because like my dad is super into music and he would listen to all sorts of stuff all the time, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, but what else can it be? And it was all like jam bands and jazz and stuff. It was very, very light. And then finding Metallica, I'm like, oh shit, here's the business. And so like going into that and then diving into metal, and then finding like going back into classical rock, back into jam band stuff, and finding why it's really good, then going into rap, and then going like it blossomed out from there. But it was like so much easier to find because it was all like right there, and someone would be like, "Oh, have you heard this?" No, and I go and find it and go, "Oh, that's alright, that's pretty good," or "Oh, this is terrible," or whatever, and kind of find it, and then eventually starting to piece it together and doing everything like that. And so I don't know, it's like it's a weird thing that you grew from. I've never been able to pull it off with Japanese music. I don't know why. I've tried. I've attempted it. Where I'm like, oh, what's like J-pop sound like right now? Like what's a banging J-pop song right now? Like, or what what's going on over here? Because I love a lot of the anime OP songs. Like a lot of those are really good. Like I don't even like the show Norogami, but that theme song, all the theme songs are amazing. So weird. They have such good music. So yeah, it's weird. I don't know what it is. I love Japanese metal like a lot. Japanese metal is really good. I've stumbled into that a few times. That's awesome. That's good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I just like really enjoy Japanese media like a lot. I don't know why. I don't know if that's like a me thing or it was like a thing I learned and I was like kind of taught to enjoy. I don't know what that is. It's very strange because like I beat Dragon Quest IV recently, like 2 days ago, yesterday. What am I saying? And like that franchise is massive in Japan, massive, and like it's very simple. Like I kind of get why. I'm surprised it's not more massive over here. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept. You know, it's like combat is not complicated at all. It's, do you have the thing that hits hard? Do that. And like, just like, that's all you gotta do. Like, what, does your sword hit hard or does your magic hit hard? Do the one that hits hard. And go. And it's just kind of basically managing resources, and that's it. Like, make sure you have the MP and the HP to do things, and you're good. Like, that's every game I've played so far, the first 4. I played a little bit of 8, but it's been so long since I played 8, I don't remember. Yeah, like, but that's it. You know, it's just like, oh, hey, here's just go, and just go and grind if you need. If you get stuck and you got beat, grind a little and go back. And like, that's it. It's not a very, like, you know, Final Fantasy, it's like every time every game comes out, it's like, hey, here's your new progression system. You're like, what is this? I have to learn this whole new thing. I could probably pick up any Dragon Quest game at this point and just jump right in. It's like, oh, okay, this is how it works. This is where we just go from here. And like, I'm surprised it's not bigger over here, but like, and that 11 should be huge if they do a few small things, I think. And that's it. I would say, hit the Skinner box a bit more by shrinking the range between levels. Because like, of the first 4, I think like all of them, I barely hit level 40. Like, there's no reason to go past 40, which is super strange to me. Like, you know, a lot of Final Fantasy games, you're ending at 60, 70, whatever, you know, like, you get pretty high up there. I can probably be like Kingdom Hearts at like 40 or 50, but you're leveling up constantly, you're always leveling up, you know, and like, they have the way, like, you know, XP gains might extend when you get to upper levels, or, you know, whatever you're doing. Or in Kingdom Hearts 1 situation, if you answer certain questions correctly, they shorten when you get to the early levels, or the late levels. They're just longer in the beginning, whatever. So like, if they had it where you hit, you know, like, the drip feed's a little more frequent, and you're getting levels more frequently, and you're getting stronger more frequently, I think that would help it a lot. And then just simply labeling things. Oh my god, they don't label things. Like, I'm spoiled having, like, that's the thing I was thinking about recently, is like, I'll go and play an RPG of today, like a new Pokemon game or Octopath Traveler or whatever, and I play, or Persona or whatever like that. I play a new RPG, and like, something as simple as just like, when you walk into a new town, it displays the name of the town on top. Or like, the map has the town names on them, something like that. Or you get a new item and you mouse over or cursor over or whatever, and it says exactly what it does. It'll do this, this, this. Where like in Dragon Quest, they're like, in the earlier few, I had to just have a wiki open to know what my items did. And then like, even in this one, you get an item that goes, can be used as a tool in battle. And do what? Like, what does it do? And I have to like go to the wiki, and I have to like look on the thing, and oh, okay, it does this spell. Okay, great. That's good to know. And it's like really strange. I don't know why they don't label that stuff. And like, I'm playing the remakes, and they still don't do that. And I'm wondering if if like the newer ones have changed this, or if this is just how it goes. If like Enix was like, nope, this is what we do. We do it this way forever. And it's like, I don't know. And it's possible because it's working. Like, if you continue, if they just keep doing that, clearly it was working. It's still working in Japan. Just keep doing it. But it would really help, I think, just everyone else to play in the world to be like, oh, I understand why this is so good, because they're really good. It's just, it takes that initial like kind of beating of yourself to like break past that barrier and go, okay, finally it's working. I understand what I'm doing now. But yeah, it's so odd how like, it's just small things, just small little things. It's like, why would you not like, even the remake, because like in some of the Pokemon remakes, they're like, oh, we're gonna have it so the town name shows up when you walk into the town. Just small shit, like, you know, quality of life change, just a small one, just to help you out. And like, it's weird. No, they just didn't know. They're like, nope, the first one didn't have it, this one doesn't have it, never will. It's like, all right, I guess so. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see if like 11 does some of the smaller changes, because like, it's kind of almost like, it's not even just like it's like your early Final Fantasy games don't do that. They don't tell you what town you're in, but for some reason they're very distinct, and it's not difficult to like remember where you're going. It's like, if someone goes, oh, hey, in this town, blah, 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 you're like, okay, sure, I'll go do that now, and you go to that other town. But in a lot of the Dragon Quest games, a lot of the towns look identical. And like, this one struggled because you got to play, or I struggled in this one because you would you play like all the other party members first, and then you go to the main character, but it kept the map completion. So like, I have been to every city, but not every city with the main character, so I really haven't been to every city. So like, I have like the boat, and I'm like, all right, where should I go next? What do I have to do next? Like, I'm lost again, because that also is a big problem, is like, the game will just kind of stop. There's like maybe like 6 major story beats, and there's just a lot of like meandering in between, and the game will just stop, and you don't know where to go next. But in the other 3, it was like, all right, I don't know where to go next, but there's this whole continent, this whole swap of the map that I haven't been to yet. We'll go check that out. And if I don't get my dick stomped in by some monster, I should probably be here, and we'll keep pushing, and we'll go and accomplish this. And because of me, I've already like explored the game and the map because of the earlier chapters. That wasn't possible, so I would just be like going back to places, and several times I would like forget the name of a town and go there twice, and then zoom there, which is their teleport thing, and teleport there. And I was like, oh, I've already been here. I don't know why I forgot the name of this town. I'd go somewhere else. Like, where have I not been? Like, I honestly getting like straight up lost because there was like no like uncharted territory. I think I kind of weird, but it's fun. It just needs those slight tweaks to like kind of match up with like a modern game, and I think it would just be like, I think people would understand and like realize why Dragon Quest is so cool. And like, it's weird. I don't know. It's just odd. I don't know if it's just because like, as I'm finding out more and more that like visuals play such a massive part in if someone wants to enjoy something. Because like a lot of people, like I have a lot of friends who play, you know, they're like, fuck Fortnite, I don't want to ever play that. And that's just because it looks like a kid game. It's all cartoony and weird looking. And like the same thing happens with different things like you know, whatever. Like people are just like, nah, fuck that game. And I think it's mostly, like the first barrier is just, oh, it looks kind of gross. And then you get to the building part, and that's the thing I've heard people say, like, I just don't want to learn to build, and I totally get that because it's a little too hard. It's like way too complicated. It's very like to do it at a successful high level, you're like fucking super brilliant. Well, that's like an example, or like League of Legends. A lot of my friends in like, I have a lot of friends who played League of Legends, but I had a lot of friends who are like, nah, that looks gross. It looks dumb. It's way too flashy. And I was like, oh, okay, it's weird. And like I'm kind of noticing that more and more with like, other games too, and I'm wondering if that's partly a Dragon Quest thing, which is weird because everyone loves Dragon Ball so much. But I don't, maybe they just don't associate the two. They just think like that's just what anime looks like, and then when you get another anime game, it looks like that, and like it's not the fact that that's a very clearly Akira Toriyama's work. So I wonder if that's just like a disconnect within like people be like, oh, that's just an anime game. Because like for me, especially when I was a kid, I didn't really even, like I said, I didn't understand there was a difference. I just thought this like Dragon Ball was a cartoon that looked like this, and then video games look like, you know, did this and whatever, and then learning like, oh, this is like an art style from a different place, and it does a different thing. Oh, okay, that makes sense. It's got its own tropes, it's its own country, it's, you know, totally different media from the rest of the stuff I've seen as a child, and like kind of putting that together. So I wonder if there's some people who just never have that Hunter x Hunter, or why did I say it like that? That Hunter x Hunter moment where you find that manga like, oh, there's more to this. I wonder if there's a lot of people that are like that. So when it comes to, and turn-based, it definitely turns a lot of people off. So I wonder if it's like a Fortnite where it's visuals plus a gameplay mechanic. They're like, nah, I'll stay away from that. Where for me, it's just like all of a sudden I'm looking up, it's been 3 hours. What's going on? I've just been grinding, or I've been exploring this thing and trying to get through this dungeon or whatever. So for me, it works. I love it. I enjoy like RPGs so much, especially for that. Like I just started, like I mentioned our Octopath Traveler briefly there, but I started playing that. That game's really fucking good. It's really good. Like it's so fun. And like I started as the thief because I would. That's all I want. I want cool thieves in all of my games. They're so cool. So I started playing him, and he's dope, and he's so fun to play, and like it's fun too because like when I played the demo, I played just Ulbrich, and because I'd heard Primrose's was the better story, so I was like, oh, I'll save hers for later, and then I'll go just do the one that's kind of average, learn the mechanics, then go and do the fun one. And I just never ended up going back to Primrose. I just played Ulbrich's, and because I was like, I started playing it, and I was like enjoying myself, and I was like, I don't get to keep any of this. So I kind of like beat myself out of playing it, or I was like, never mind, and I stopped. And so, having gone into this one now, being like, because like when I got into Ulbrich, I was like, oh my god, this is so exciting. And I started like thinking, I was like, well, in other RPGs this happens, so I should do this. I should buy these items right now, because you start with like a lot of money in that game. Like when you start out, you pick your characters, like you have like 2,500 or something, like gold, and you can buy like a full set of armor or something. Like you can do a pretty decent job, like right out of the gate. And so like I'm always like, oh, interesting. And like they have like weird choices to pick. And like when I played the thief, they had a bunch of options that like had they were really good, like, you know, normal defense, elemental defense, but then also had really high evasion. I was like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of these. I bet this is really useful. And I crushed that like most of that first dungeon with him because like I wasn't getting touched. And like you heal when you level up, so like early levels I'm not getting touched. I get hit a few times, level up, I'm back at full. Let's keep going. And like the boss fight of his is like you're fighting like this like dope dude, like this cool like butler dude or whatever. And like sure, it's just pixel art fighting each other, but like visually, like in my mind when I picture it, it was like so cool. Like I'm dodging a bunch of attacks, and like he's doing like these big charge attacks, calling on other guards. We're having this like cool little battle, and like it played out really fucking cool. And I was like, oh, this is really neat, because I was like dodging a bunch of attacks. Like he had like these big ones that were like multi-hit, and it would just say miss, and he'd dodge every single one. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like I look really cool right now, and he's always a really cool like little like voice lines. Like when he sits steal, unfortunately it's only one. I wish he had a couple more voice lines when he stole stuff, but his steal one is, "What's yours is mine." I love it so much. I love it so much. Like I literally want that to be like my text tone. I love it so much. He's got a bunch of the really cool ones. But yeah, he's like really, really cool. And you finish that and like, oh, you can go to your next chapter, and it's listed as level 22. And I walked out like level 10 or 11. And they're like, oh, but why don't you go find the other 8? So I'm in the process of finding the other 8. I found the apothecary, which I've always struggled on like understanding like why weirder classes are in RPGs. Like Dragon Quest IV had a merchant, and I did not understand what he did or why I want to use him. He had like a unreasonably high crit chance, because like the text chat would be like, oh, he like tripped and then blew this guy's head off. Like it was like that was like frequently what happened with him. Otherwise I couldn't figure out why he would be used. So I like never did. Like he was used in like a money making trick that I read about online that you did like in his chapter, and otherwise that's it. I don't understand what he was used for. He was very strange. And then but there's one in this game, and there's an apothecary. Am I saying it right? An alchemist. I'm just gonna say it myself the time. I'm not gonna porky pig this. Or I guess I am, because I'm just gonna whatever. I never understand those. Like there was one, because these are the guys who made Bravely Default, and there was a lot of weird classes in Bravely Default, like an alchemist, or no, a chemist, I think they called them back then. And like stuff like that. I was like, I don't understand how this is used. So like I did a lot of Bravely Default. I didn't beat that game because you ended up having to like repeat a lot of stuff, and I was like, oof, I'm not doing this again. But there was a part of it that was or like most of it, everything I played, I had just like done like, I have a mage, I have a healer, I have a tank, and I have a DPS guy. And that's what I know. That's what I know works in every game. I'm just gonna stick with this, and it was working. But then I felt like I was kind of missing out on like all these cool classes that kept showing up. I was like, oh, I wonder what that does, and like, but I don't understand how that works, or why would that be that way? And like, I just wasn't feeling adventurous. It's I don't know why. I don't know why I did it that way. I kind of like pigeon, because I did that in really what it is I did it in what's that game? Final Fantasy 3. I had like a very like structured like system, and like none of the classes really went that crazy. It was like play, warrior and white mage and black mage and one other. And like I would always have that one other be the kind of weird one. I did that in 5 too, where I had the kind of weird one, but then ultimately it was like they're going to be the main damage. They're going to be the main physical damage. So they're going to, like, once I unlocked, like, Dragoon and then Ninja, like, they were that. And, like, and the same thing with, like, actually, no, in Dragon Quest. In Final Fantasy V, I had it way more where my 4th party member was, like, my main guy was always, like, he was the monk who was, like, super, they were, like, crazy tanks in that one. I don't know why. They had, like, really high health and, like, really had evasion. They were really strange. But yeah, I was like, let's play the monk, and then he'll be a paladin, and then I'll have my white mage, and then there'll be her devout. Devout wasn't in 5, that was only in 3, but they had like, everyone had like an understandable upgrade path, except for that 4th part in 5, and they were like the Beastmaster, or the blue mage, or like something weird. I always had them do something weird. It was really fun. I can't even remember what they ended up as. I can't remember what it was. But it's so cool. It was like, oh, they just do a weird thing. Like, oh, this is a thing, let's see what this does. Oh, this is dumb. But in this game, because like you have like your individual story for each character, and I'm curious if like there are ever cutscenes with the 8 of them together, because it seems like every time you, like, so far I've only done the first first chapter of the thief and the apothecary, the alchemist. I'm just gonna stop myself. And there was no, like, the thief didn't show up in the other guys' cutscenes, and like it's weird that, like, I'm wondering if that's gonna be the case throughout, because like my next quest for the thief is his quest, like it's part of his campaign. There's no, like, is there a major campaign throughout, and like everyone has their own story, or is it literally just everyone's individual tales being told and working together as a team of 8? I don't know. I'll be curious to see once I get kind of stuff together. Because like there's really nothing stopping you from just playing the one character you want and then just stopping. Like I don't see why you, like, If you really wanted to, you could. There's nothing stopping you. You could just walk right to your next quest and just play that one character over and over again. Just because then you probably level up a whole bunch. And like the zones seem to be structured based on like how many people are in your party. Because I like backtracked through a zone once I had 2 party members, and like the level of that zone raised a bit, and it changed up a little bit of like the composition of the enemies, and like, so I'm wondering if you could literally just play as one character and move on. I don't know. Maybe at one point it like walls you and it's like, go get everyone, stop what you're doing. I don't know. Be curious, but it's super fun. It's so fun. It's so cool to watch everything like work together. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of it. It's kind of like, I was like, I'm going to finish Dragon Quest IV and I'm going to start this game up, and I started up last night and just went for hours. Like, this is too fun. It's just a good time. I will always be like a Square child. Like I was raised on Square JRPGs. They will always be comfort food. They always be the place of like coming home, which is like fun to go and go play a Dragon Quest game and be like, oh, here's the like thing that inspired this. Here's the stuff that was kind of competing with it. It just, here's this other thing. This is pretty cool to see. But then to go back to a Square game, you're like, okay, this is them going back to like doing something weird, having a weird upgrade path, but doing their thing, and this is a lot of fun. It's been a good time, and I think you can like make classes and stuff, and there's like way more class customization once you kind of get certain levels and stuff like that. So I think it seems from what I've heard is like every individual story is like 10 hours long or something. So like, because I did the first chapter, I've done both first chapters like an hour and a half. So like that seems about right. And I think I was going a little slow, so like about an hour per chapter or something. It's about 10, or maybe it's only like 8 chapters, and they seem to like this number 8. But like with the half hours of both, so like each character's like 10 hours, or yeah. So then it's like 80 hours of all the character paths, and then I guess there's some post game stuff too. So like there's a ton of game here, and I'm very curious to see how it all works out. But it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it's so far like one of my favorite games of this year. Probably that, and like Monster Hunter is really good. I enjoy that a lot. And then honestly, I had tried VR for the first time, and Beat Saber is super fun. Beat Saber is amazing. If you get the chance, play Beat Saber. Just do it. And like, I would recommend playing on a higher difficulty, because then it kind of adds a little bit of like some change to the system that you have in place. Like big walls that you gotta like dodge, and like you don't always just hit down. You can hit down and up, and like it's kind of fun to like hit the flow and then switch hands, and like it's really cool. So if anyone gets a chance, play Beat Saber. It's actually pretty like mind blowing, like how fun it is. You sweat like crazy too. It's so crazy fun, but it was really good. Yeah, I got that chance over my week off. Yeah, I think it's everything. I think that's all I want to talk about. I'm really like craving doing this, so like kind of just sat down and like want to do a bunch of stuff because I've just been away for so long. And then it's finally getting to like a reasonable temperature in my room. So like you get home and I'm like, oh, I'm home, time to do something. Oh my god, I don't want to be upstairs for more than 10 minutes. It's just so hot up here. And like I don't like recording this with the fan on, so like it gets a little bit hotter in here, but like fan's off, I feel fine. I'm getting a little sweaty, but it's been an hour of me just talking, staring at this wallpaper I have on my other monitor. I made it. It's a little Infernape artwork that I found, and I made the background stuff. It's fun. Yeah, Infernape's dope. Shout out to Infernape. What a great Pokemon. I really hope they do a Gen 4 remake. I just want that so bad. Infernape's so cool. I think this is artwork from Conquest, I believe. So if you want to look up Infernape from Conquest, I believe that's what I'm looking at here. But it's really cool. I really, really enjoy his Pokemon design. He's so cool. Such a dope thing, and I really hope they do that Gen 4 remake. That'd be so fun. I love Gen 4. That game speaks to me. All right, I'm gonna wrap up. I should have probably put this in the beginning, but I believe the intended time day is the 4th of August. Another podcast I'm on, which is like a D&D game broadcast, that's coming out August 4th. I believe it is. Let me double check the name, because I actually don't remember, which is weird because I play it every week. A Land of Life and Story is the name of it, and that'll come out August 4th. I don't know where necessarily. Could just be YouTube, might be iTunes. I'm not sure. We're getting all that figured out, but figured I'd just kind of pimp that now. But that's another thing I'll be doing. Episode 10 is amazing. I don't remember exactly how it went and what I did, but episode 10 is super good. So we're going to we've recorded 10 so far, so it'll be very exciting to see where it's all going. But yeah, so there's that. And feel free to email the show, yourbrainontom@gmail.com. Yeah. For some reason I thought I just said something completely wrong. Yeah. Name of the show at Gmail. yourbrainontom@gmail.com. It's right there. I don't know. Should be fun. To hear from people. Tell me your genres that you love so much. What's some weird thing that you never thought like spoke to you, but now you're thinking about it and it's like, oh yeah, this is something I'm like really into. It's like a weird thing. It's a weird art form that like not a lot of people talk about, but I love it a lot. Tell me. Everything else though, I think that's it. So with that, love and kisses.